Hello everyone, I'm the Cromulent Archer, and welcome to 10 Project Zomboid Tips and Tricks for Build 41. For those of you who don't know me, I am a YouTuber and Twitch streamer who's been doing Project Zomboid content for 5+ years. With the arrival of Build 41, I thought it'd be a good idea to run through some tips and tricks that might not be obvious to everybody, just so that you can have more fun playing Project Zomboid. All of the tips presented in this video are accurate as of February of 2020. Zomboid is a game that is in constant flux, constant development, so things could change if you're watching this too far in the future, but most of the fundamentals of this stuff should be pretty sound. Enjoy. Don't underestimate the power of the spear. Spears, especially in the early game, if you can't find a better weapon, are very powerful. You can make them pretty easily. All you need are some sort of sharp knife, a kitchen knife, a hunting knife, something along those lines, or a sharp stone that you can find through foraging. And then you need a plank or a branch or something along those lines, which can also be found through foraging. After that, you just make a spear. The durability will be kind of crap. Very low when you first start. As you get better at it, the durability will go up. But spears are very powerful weapons. Obviously they break easily while the durability is low. But if you can knock a zombie on the ground, there's a guaranteed one-hit kill that you can do, which is, you know, not too shabby for a weapon that you make out of stuff that you pull out of the ground. So yeah, so learn to use the spear, learn to love the spear. You can attach things onto the end of them, but even the just basic spear is a pretty handy little weapon. One fun combat tip that is not immediately obvious a lot of the time is that if you knock a zombie on the ground and stand on top of it, they can't get up. A good way to stay alive when you're fighting two zombies is to if you can knock one of them down, is to stand on it while you're fighting the other one. Obviously you won't be able to back up, which is another tactic if you're doing it this way, but if you're only fighting two zombies, getting one down and standing on it while you deal with the other one is a very helpful strategy. When it comes to getting clothes from zombies, it's important to know the effects that differing weapons will have on the clothes that they're wearing. The gold standard for getting clothes without damage is, of course, the face stab, but those are hard to pull off. It's important to know that bladed weapons like this axe that I'm using in this clip is the worst that you could possibly use. It just tears up clothing, as you can see in some of these shots. Blunt weapons are better, but they still do damage. But yeah, so if you see a zombie that you really want their clothes on them, do not go for the axes or the hand axes or any of the slashing type weapons, because you will just rip up their clothing. Learning skills in Project Zomboid can be a little rough, but there's a couple of ways you can speed up at least a few of the skills. The TV will show you shows 3 times a day for the first 9 or 10 days at 6 a.m., noon, and 1800 that are teaching you various skills, including cooking, carpentry, foraging, and fishing. If you miss them, they're gone forever, so you have to try and catch them if you can. It's on the Life and Living channel. At the very beginning of the game, when you spawn in, there is a cooking show that will be on as soon as you spawn in. If you spawn in a house with a TV in it, try and turn that TV on as quickly as possible and turn it to Life and Living to catch the cooking show. It's very helpful. The skill books that are in the game that give you multipliers on your skill checks or your skill level ups do work with these TV shows, but it's a little tricky to try and get bonuses read in time for the TV shows. Do your best to not miss them. You probably miss a few, but it's free points just sitting there, so go grab them. This tip's a quality of life tip that surprisingly few people know about. If you go into the options menu and then into the audio settings, under advanced audio, you can actually control just about every sound in the game individually. I personally like to turn down the heartbeat noise and the flies noise, and also to lower the sound of the sirens and the honking on cars. It's very powerful, and it's a great addition that Indie Stones has allowed us to access. So yeah, if you have any noises that particularly bother you, get in there and turn them down. One of the most important things to find in the first couple weeks of the game is the How to Use Generators magazine. It'll allow you to learn how to attach generators to just about anything to provide power. Generators themselves are found mostly in garages and sheds. Once you have a generator and you've learned how to use it, it's extremely powerful to allow you to have essentially infinite gasoline. You just have to take it over to the gas station and use the menus to connect it to the gas pump, turn it on, obviously fill it with gas, turn it on, and then you can just use the gas pump like you would if it had power. It's very helpful, and I would highly recommend you making that a priority of something you find before the power goes out. The speed of the game can be controlled in two ways. Most people are aware of the arrow keys up in the right-hand corner to control things, but you can also control them through the hotkeys of F2, F3, and F4. This is extremely helpful when you're doing things that are kind of slow and tedious, like chopping down trees. You can accelerate the time and then slow it back down pretty easily by using this technique. If you're out driving between towns and you see one of these tight little balls of zombies, if you can think you can handle it, pull over or just run over the zombies as much as you can, because there will almost always be in the center, if you notice, a special zombie. And by special I just mean clothing wise. Supposed to be a former survivor that got eaten, I think. He often has a large military backpack on his back, which is I think the best backpack you can find in the game. So it's worth working for. It also usually has a little bit of supplies in the middle of it. But yeah, if you see one of these balls of zombies, there's almost always something good hiding in the center of the ball. Don't underestimate noise when it comes to controlling zombies. As you can see in this clip that we're using, we've come across a car that has a siren on it. We can't drive the car, but we can turn on its siren. And by turning on that siren, it will draw in zombies from the whole surrounding area, basically the entire reality bubble that we have going on. And I'm doing it a second more advanced. Oh, you activate the car menu by hitting the V key. And I'm going to try and show you a slightly more advanced maneuver, which is a Siren Burn. It's a little dangerous if you're not careful, but here I've made a Molotov, and if you can use the Molotov to catch zombies that are approaching the car on fire, which I fail to do here in a second, they will cluster around and burn as long as the battery lasts on the car. So yes, this was not the way it was supposed to go. I have ghost mode on right now, so that's why the zombies are ignoring me. This is one of the things you need to be careful of when you're doing this, is that the zombies will come and chase you if you get too close. Alright, so in take two I managed to get the fire on the zombie. But yeah, so you can see they're starting to pour in from the edges, and they burn. And it's great fun. I love doing this. This is a technique I love to do. It'll clear out a lot of zombies. Important thing to know about fire in Zomboid is that if you wander too far, it'll get unloaded and then it just goes into stasis. It does not continue to burn if you're too far away. So you have to stay close by. And of course, also, watch yourself. You don't want to get caught by the zombies, especially in the fire. Another option, if you have more time to plan, is to use a campfire kit instead of a Molotov. You just set it next to the car and turn on the fire there before you start the siren going. It is important to note that if the battery on the car that you're using the siren on goes dead, then of course the siren will stop and the zombies will start wandering off. Zombies don't like to be tightly clustered, so they will start to wander off immediately once the siren turns off. So keep that in mind. This next tip's a bit of an advanced maneuver, but it's two techniques that I call Pied Pipering and Sheepdogging that work together. Pied Pipering is basically moving a group of zombies from one place to another without actually trying to fight them, just sort of relocating them. And in order to do that effectively, sheepdogging is what I call it, in order to keep the zombies together. Because zombies move at different rates. When you're moving them, they will tend to sort of pull out into a line, It's actually really useful when you're trying to separate groups, but when you're Pied Pipering a group away, you kind of want the group to stay together. So if you'll notice in this clip, I do these constant circles around the zombies. As they start to separate, I will do a backtrack circle around the group of zombies that I'm working on. It tightens the ball, keeps them all more or less together, so that you can continue to move them away. Also, the Q key will make you yell, which is very helpful for pulling a bunch of zombies from a general vicinity towards you, which is kind of the setup for this whole thing. But yeah, this is a little dangerous. This can be a little dangerous if you're not super familiar with how far zombies can grab. But you may also notice that for the most part, except for when I'm doing the circles, I mostly am just walking away from the zombies, because your general walking speed will be faster than 9 out of 10 zombies. And you really need to watch your stamina when you're doing something like this, because you do not want to run out of stamina or your zombie food. But yeah, sheepdogging, Pied Pipering, you guys might have better names for them than that, but that's what I call them. And once you get a good feel for it, it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of moving groups of zombies around, because it's not always the best plan to try and fight zombies. A lot of times it either avoid or relocate are your best strategies. I hope you enjoyed the tips I presented in this video, and I hope that you maybe even learned something. I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/CrumulanArcher, and I'm obviously here on YouTube at youtube.com/CrumulanArcher. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It helps out a great deal. You can also subscribe if you want to see more stuff in the future. I'm hoping to do more tutorial videos on Project Zomboid moving forward. If you have any tips of your own, please put them in the comments. I'm sure other people would love to learn from them. I certainly love to see them.